just think 3 moves in the board. Because after the third move, your competitor does, maybe the board itself has changed. Remember the engagement phase that I was talking about. But can you just go out in the LinkedIn world or anywhere in public and then attach this? Means you are betting your credibility also on it. It's not a pure play sale where the salesman really walks in, throws 5 questions, engages you, and then cuts the deal, walks away.
Hey everyone, it's Mukul. I'm the host at The Great Fix. For today's episode, I'm excited to sit down with Kalyanaraman Parthasarathi. He is the founder and CEO at BaseDynamics, an intelligence platform that stitches together usage data, customer voice, and journey signals, so teams don't just track activity but understand intent. In his past, he has spent over a decade at Soho and Freshworks, rising from manager to heading product. Now he's a founder building in the post-AI era. In our conversation, we dig into what he has learned from his experience in directing products and what he has had to unlearn as he builds BaseDynamics. We dive into the DNA of founder-led sales, the overlooked gap between activation and engagement, and why PMF anxiety is best answered with 4 specific signals. Let's dive in. Perfect. Hi Kalyan, how are you?
Hi, Mukul. I'm great.
Perfect. So if you can start with giving a little bit brief about your product, what you're building, how big is your team and all the other stuff, I think that would be the best place to start with.
First of all, thanks, Mukul, for having me in this podcast. And so we are 8 people, and so our company is called BaseDynamics. And what are we building is a customer intelligence platform, which kind of combines the customer usage, which is the usage analytics, their voice, and brings in journey context with a correlation engine on top of it. Today, anything and everything that we build, I'm saying this applies to any company, right? So there is an AI on top of it. So the AI does the correlation engine. AI is used to understand the voice in depth and build the correlation in and bring in the customer journey context together to put together a data which was not seen before, or which took really a long time for people to stitch together. So that's BaseDynamics in a nutshell.
Understood. And who do you think your competitors are? Like, I've worked around with Amplitude. There's a new company which was acquired by Amplitude as well, June. Are you in the same space or?
Great question. Means there are multiple players. The 2 competitors that I could think of who are moving more towards the trajectory that we are planning to do. One is certainly Amplitude. Second one is Pendo. But having said that, their roots are coming from usage analytics. We do have that part. But now they are, or rather in the recent past, they have started moving more towards the voice as well. So I'm seeing both of them really moving into this space. But as such, there is no single competition in the market today which does that. In a way, we can say, hey, we are trying to create a category or trying to mature the market from where it is today.
In the morning, I was reading a post from one of the persons I follow a lot on LinkedIn, and he has decent amount of experience, decades in marketing. And they spoke about how the 4P of marketing, promotion, place, price, packaging, the startups don't focus on the 3, they focus a lot on promotion. And the main thesis was because founders have the thing that they would love to get their product acquired or sell it in the end. Is this a theory that you go by? Like, because the quickly they can promote it, that 1P focus they can have in their marketing, it's better for them that they can just sell it at the end.
So unfortunately, I've worked in two companies in the past. One is Zoho. From the day one, they have been bootstrapped, very successful. So they are not building for the sake of getting acquired or getting sold. The second company that I've been part of is Freshworks, first Indian SaaS product company to go IPO in NASDAQ. Uh, Again, they have not been acquired. So, see, there is no right or wrong thing, especially in today's market. Whether you're building to quickly acquire customers and then kind of get that aggregated to a bigger complementary company in the name of acquisition or an acqui-hire is still fine. But what we need to be thinking is how far we are in the journey as a startup person. So whether there is a goal alignment will beyond the money that people make in between. Are we serving or are we continuing to build on the dream that we had in our head initially? I think that's what is more important.
Perfect. Cool. So, from our previous conversation, the pre-run that we had, there were three big ideas that I noted down about how you think about the great fix or your approach of building a company. So, we can start with the first one, which was on the 80% rule, where you said that you should not look for perfection. Again, good, but you should only solve around 80% of the problems. How do you decide what not to build? How do you communicate that to the customers without losing the tool?
Great question, Mokul. Think about it. Excel has, at least if I were to list, more than 10,000 features. Do we use all the 10,000?
No, no.
Okay.
I barely know few of them.
The other
Googling.
way to look at it is only 20% of the product is consumed by 80% of the users.
Yeah.
Right now, that's what I meant when I say, because not many really go beyond creating a pivot table in an Excel sheet, right? Or because they are trying to just put a small table out there.
Yeah.
If you were to kind of think like a database, small table out there, building different columns, trying to merge, create maximum a chart. That's where, and the pivot table, that's where they stop. A little bit person or people, those who are really know the nuances might go up to lookup tables. That's it,
Yeah,
right?
true. I remember
That's
from
what
my
yeah.
professional start as well. One of the feedback I received from a company was, "Hey, you need to learn more on Excel." And I'm like, "Okay, my work is like I'm able to do the work, but why should I just learn all the formulas? I can now GPT it." But again, I get the point. People don't use Excel to the degree they
Correct.
have. Like it's a super tool as far as I can extrapolate. But yeah,
So you can go all the way up to even coding, right?
yeah, yeah,
But that's not needed. So how do you decide where to stop? Now, it comes in two parts. One is observing the kind of customers that you're planning to attract, what they are doing, and also by probing into what they are actually using it for. Like ask them like what are they using it for, how frequently they use it, how do they use it today, right? Those kind of probing questions to kind of put yourself in the customer's shoes and make a list of things that they are using, and then come up with the regular prioritization framework. The one that we can use here is, it's called Masco. Must have, should have, could have, and would have. So those kind of prioritization modules would really help. And I've built a survey before doing BaseDynamics within Freshworks as a platform service. And that's a huge market. It's like 25 years of maturity into what they are building. So how do I decide what to have in the initial MVP, right? Typically, what I've observed is, frankly, during those times, I've taken any survey that has come my way, be it a random call, bank, any travel that you do. I've filled all the surveys just to understand what they have used, and I've even filled multiple times. So predominantly there was a rating scale, there was a drop down, there was a multi choice. That's all you need. There are much deeper capabilities into each one of this which you don't need to start with. So that's how you decide.
I Before recording this podcast, I told someone I know that I'm getting on a call with Kalyan. He was he was leading product in Freshworks, and and that person said, "Oh wow, these Freshwork people are really intelligent." Like that people graduate from IIM, they have a very simpler, like very similar kind of greatness associated with ex Freshworks. Why is that? Like, is Freshwork allowing that 20% creativity in the end, or does it give the space? Or I mean, I was in the conversation with this guy, and that was the whole thing.
Mukul, the way I look at it is, again, all credits to Girish Mathrubootham, because the way he has assembled a team to kind of drive the company towards the vision, and the kind of liberty that these people had in whatever they are excelled in, right? That those two really forms a big change in how other companies are being dealt with and how Freshworks is able to pull. I would even go one step further. I would even attribute that to Zoho as well, because that's where even Freshworks have given birth from, right? And it did had its own tweaks in terms of how the business have been run. But the way I look at it is like bringing the good minds together and then having the ability or giving them a platform wherein they were able to share what they think. Not that others are going to be pulled, because remember, all our best minds on the floor, right? So they are going to throw a question with an only intent not to disrespect the person who is presenting, but with a clear intention of how we do it together as a company. I think that that initial dais or the stage has been completely set from the day one by Girish Mathrubootham, and everybody really took it to the heart, and that's what is making these companies better. And remember, there are more and more startups coming with a similar mindset in terms of bringing in the right people and giving them the space that they are really mastered in, and how we as a company can be more successful, right? That's a very healthy sign. Gone those days. I remember even one starter was saying this in a meeting, saying, gone those days, like, wherein you come and throw an idea before your executive, wherein your executive says you better get trained. No one tries it, right? Those days are gone. Now, perhaps the kids have more creativity than someone like bald head like me.
No, that's not the case. Yeah. God. Coming back to the question of 80, for example, right now, if I see building great fix for myself, a media place, and where I can have the conversation, the same rule applies here as well, right? What do you suggest? Do you think the same way, or because there's no customer in this situation? There's an audience. There's attention, audience, the guest. And no one is paying me to do this. So when money is not in the picture, how do you build something, at least the initial stage, where you know it's the right direction?
Community building is hard because you need to get like-minded people together and then allow them to really share what they think and ensure that the conversation sticks around only what the community is meant for. Because moderation, that's where the moderation gets into key play. Think about how initially Quora has done, right? Quora has gone really flat, means typically people talk about anything and everything. And then you had purpose specific communities and groups, Reddit, Hacker News. So you need it. I think we need to think like that. So it's not about making money. It's about really getting the right content out, so that it appeals to the audience that you have in your mind. So more people really chime in to your channels, and that's when really it kicks in. One of my favorite is Hacker News. Right. So they have done a fantastic job. Unless there are like too many noises around, I know people might even confront this by saying, "Hey, Hacker News is getting too much of noise these days." Agreed. Not denying that there is a focused LinkedIn groups that you can be part of in within LinkedIn. So those are very great examples. So depending on where you want to, I think looking at um, the GTM focus that you have, which is highly relevant in today's days because tech is becoming more and more getting commoditized. Even a kid can become a developer these days, and they call it as vibe coding, right? With the right prompt. So what was once a specialization is getting commoditized. So it's all about how you can build something that solves a problem, and people will be ready to pay for it. So I think how you can be in the radar of your ICP depends on your content. You continue to do it; it just drives it.
And about in everyone being coding and building a product, I also feel there's one small thing which is taste. Right now, I've been working for 4 years in the space of B2B, so I can exactly tell if a response which I've received from a large language model on an ideation session, if it's bad, worse, or good. So everyone jumping on building, if they don't have the taste, they don't know how to do that. I mean, they can make micro products, but I feel that's not scalable. But yeah, that has certainly created that perception in the market that we can't pay more. Maybe there's a free or cheaper alternative for what you're doing. Certainly, yeah.
Agreed, in a way, Mukul. Why I'm saying that is, you can build something that is flashy today, but it is not sustainable.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
that's when you really need the specialization in
yeah,
how
yeah.
to build it for scale, how to build it for security, right? Those things really needs depth knowledge.
Perfect. Cool. Moving on to the next big theme of recency bias in the data that you're talking. Feedback is very important. If teams are biased in their own way, especially the recency effect which they have, it can skew the product roadmaps. So if you're building GTM from scratch, I know you are not in that building motion, like you're in that building the product right now zone, not the GTM, but still, how would you balance gut, customer voice, and hard data that you get?
Brilliant question. Because if you pick any customer facing team member and ask them about, hey, give me top three of top of the mind, like three things, there is a high chance that the recency kind of flashes there,
Yeah.
than actually trying to validate what really is going to move the needle. So, but having said that, the way we need to be looking at that is continue to pulse. That's quite important. It's like putting a tracker on your hand in terms of number of steps and your heart rate and things like that. So continue to get the signals. It's important. But how do you validate that on what needs to be built is an interesting method, or I would call it as the the formula in terms of what decides or what goes into the product next, right? And moreover, the number of customers that we meet, they all from, let's say I'm selling a product to a real estate agent. They might not be techie,
Hmm,
but
hmm,
at times assume there are products which are sold to IT teams. Consider BaseDynamics, which is getting sold to, or ICP is product companies, right? Be it B2B or B2C, right? These people go one step further because they are doing it. They might even come up with a solution to you. They might say, hey, I want this drop out button to look like this and at this corner, right? Yeah, you need to
yeah.
ignore that and then just focus on, boss, tell me what's the problem, right? Don't, so let's dwell more time into understanding the problem rather than finding out where to place it, how to query the DB. I think those things we can park it for now. And another thing means these are really tricky ones, especially when you're working with deep tech kind of personas. See if there is any specific use case that cut across your customers, and those were the things you need to build. Now,
Yeah.
the way the company, depending on their maturity, let's say they are in the 0 to 1 million, maybe they need to be working on more of their lighthouse customer asks. And if they are on the 1 to 5 million, means the acquisition is heavy, or 5 to 50 million, I would say still your acquisition is heavy, not on the retention side. So bake in all the closed lost customers feedback, closed won customer feedback. And that's when you will be able to propel faster in terms of whatever your goals are, right? Or what are your OKRs are. So those are important. You need to bake in where the company is today. I was just looking at a video where he was sharing, the gentleman was sharing how what chess can actually help you teach in the business, right? Just think 3 moves in the board, because after the third move your competitor does, maybe the board itself has changed.
Yeah.
You need a very different play. So only think 3 steps from now.
There's a book called, I don't remember the book, but Never Split the Difference. Yeah, that's the name of the book by Chris Voss. And it's more on negotiation and all. And in one of his videos, he was talking about how even when we prospect and do cold emailing, you don't have to give everything in just one single email. It's again like a chessboard. You
Right.
so people misunderstand sequencing as complete information, then making the prospect feel guilty, and then a breakup email. But sequencing is more like again chessboard where you moves change every second.
So on your first date you don't want to propose a girl.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's
It's
the
as
analogy.
simple as that.
Yeah, yeah, perfect. Goal. Um, we can talk a lot on this, but I think because of the limitation of the site, we don't want to make it too long for the audience. Let's talk about the plurality in GTM. You said that there's no single silver bullet. It's about the 100 small mistakes and things you do moving together. And when the world loves big bets and executives focusing more on winner GTM motions, why is that the worldview you have? Because I have one more personal addition to this. I worked with multiple companies and I've experienced different approaches to how the executives take the decisions in the organization. One SaaS company in the AI space, they wanted to really focus on just one thing for many months. Their acquisition was too high. And I was doing that customer validation, calling people, and again getting the feedback. There also, some people would just give a very different product things that, hey, can you get this to us, or is it coming in the pipeline? And I have to, very dicey situation. I don't know what to say. On the other hand, founders or companies doing everything, little bit of podcast, little bit of DMing and all the channels. Uh, I feel both the approaches are good. I don't know. It's just very different based on the context, right? So I was too stretched between PLG, sales led, enterprise. So I just gave up on PLG, at least for that point of time. But yeah, both seems to be making sense. But what's that right mix? What's that genius move? Does it depend on the context? Is it how many team you have? What do you think on this plurality in GTM?
Okay. Um, Quick words on that is, um, when I meant plurality, there is no one silver bullet which is going to make everything work, because your customers are going through, let's say, YouTube. They are spending time in LinkedIn. They are. You need to be there wherever your customers are and whatever that confers them. Some people listen to podcasts when they are on a public transport or when they are driving to office,
Yeah.
right? So there is a distribution of your content that is quite important. And your content shouldn't just focus on, assume that I'm just making LinkedIn posts, right? Not doing a Medium post or a podcast or SCM ads, nothing like that, right? You're limiting yourself to only one platform, right? So how do you diversify this? How do you know what's going to win? Not today, but maybe 3 years from now. Which horse is going to win after 3 years from now? So how you can get expertise much before your competitor figures it out. So the thing is, what we have practiced within Freshworks, within Zoho, is you get 10% kind of leeway from your marketing budget to experiment something new. And if that, what comes along with that is, it's not that random experiment, right? We clearly write down what is the metric we are going to track from investing in that, and how it's going to help. The clear differentiation there is between branding. Is that a branding investment or a lead gen investment? Right? What is that expected out of this? And when you say lead gen, okay, what is, if that proportion gets into, let's say the 10% is, let's say $1,000, right? If that $1,000 is invested in Google, when the search world was heavy, today it is not, then how many leads we might have got, and how many of them convert? Now we need to have that data along with this one. Maybe yours have the best quality. It still gives $1,000 with nearly 3-4% of conversions in a Google typical world, or less than 8%, with you having really 25%, but really cutting it to the mark. So you need to really get to that depth for measuring why this 10% investment is needed, and what is going to be your approach in terms of moving or generating more leads if it's a marketing experiment. And on the other thing that you have talked about, right, on the founders doing everything, right, a bit of everything. Again, I think what people are trying to see is figuring out what all the channels my audience are really looking at, right? Maybe some people are just okay to read passages, wherein the next generation wants to listen. Maybe the newer generation right now wants just the crux of it. They don't want to listen to the podcast now. They just need a summary of that podcast. They give that to Perplexity and then say, hey, summarize this video to me. But that's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm observing. With whenever the newer kids on the block, whatever they are doing. So if I ask them, hey, have you really gone through the blog? I share them something to read. They said, yeah, I have been through. They speak as if they have completely read the blog or the video that I've shared with them. But in reality, what they have done is they have sent that to Perplexity and then heard the summary of it.
Everyone is optimizing for less glucose use in their brain.
Yeah.
You talked about 4 stages, right? Acquisition, activation, engagement, and retention. I don't know how much familiar you are with the winning by design bow tie. Starts with acquisition and then activation and these same things, but they have even little bit more. I'll just add that image on the screen when I make the edit. You have simplified it: acquisition, activation, engagement, and retention. Can you explain a bit more about what goes between activation and engagement there? A lot of people don't talk about it. Many just talk about acquiring. That's very obvious. And in retention, more on the CS end, but that gray area between activating and engaging them, keeping them together.
Great again. A successful B2B customer needs to go live because technically I think there was even a research being done that more than 100 product exists in a B2B SaaS company, which is more than 50 million. And if someday they just wake up and then find out that your product is not adding value, they're going to move away. Hardly people even log into it. They don't get the value. I don't think we need them because no one has used it for the past 6 months. So why would I even pay for it? Interestingly, one of the company even came up with an idea to find these gaps for CFOs to optimize their spending, right? That spend flow. More on the usage and how they are consuming the license. So point is, activation is about going live. If there is a paid onboarding, someone needs to flag that this customer has migrated all the data, got all the workflows working, connected to their tech ecosystem, and the system is live, users are logging in, and they are all being trained on the product. That is activation to engagement. But why in between an engagement? Why can't it just fly from activation all the way up to retention? Think of this with an analogy of you just getting into a house, right? You just bought a house or rented a house, you're getting in, means acquisition is done. Now, during the initial stage, you need to know, hey, where are the water supplies, how it's being treated, what is the gas connections, how's the electricity bill, means how do I know how much I consumed on all that nitty-gritties, means that your go live done. But only after you start living in that house, after 1 month, if I visit you, you will have a huge laundry list of questions to me. Right? In terms of, hey, this wasn't working, that needs to be worked, means the shower wasn't really right, that needs to be cleaned, and things like that. That's the engagement phase, very, very critical phase, because that's where the customer is going to face all the frictions. And they need someone to really check on a regular basis after they went live, so that you iron out all of that, so that they move on to the next phase of really living at your facility peacefully. That's the retention phase.
Got it. Perfect. There was a rule which you mentioned. You've wore many hats in previous organization as a support person, as a marketer, and can you throw a little bit lights on it? You wrote about giving more when something broke up around a customer. explaining little bit more features when they came
Yeah.
dissatisfied. So, y- little bit more on
My,
that.
that's my theory on how I see PLG.
Okay.
Why I feel that is quite important is without us realizing as a company,
Mm-hmm.
the kind of impact we will have on our business will be very, very huge. So, means in that, right, what I've actually said is when I was a support person, whenever I hop on a online session to
Mm-hmm.
resolve a problem that the customer has raised, once during while I'm fixing the issue, I'm predominantly looking at logs, trying to correct something. So I will have a conversation with the customer to understand the use case and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Once the issue gets to the resolved state, only when it reaches to resolved state, I actually show them for their use cases what are all the features that they can use more.
How do you
Now,
know that the features that you're going to show to them, you were showing
mm,
to them, they didn't know before?
because I'm actually looking at their product, navigating in their product
Okay.
in terms of
Okay.
what they have,
Mm-hmm.
what they have used mostly. So I asked them, hey, do you know that you can actually add your serial numbers here so that it becomes easier when you get a notification kind? So they say,
Mm-hmm.
oh, is it really? So then I actually tell them like how to get that done. So my point is, uh, as a support person, what are you incentivized? Is number of
Mm-hmm.
tickets that you, what is your resolution time, right? Typically, or what is your average handling time kind of metrics. You are not measured on it. But now people are finding it very, very hard to get a 1 hour slot with your exact customer. Think about it, especially in the sales life, right? You are
Mm-hmm.
getting that freely in a support time. Customer success teams are finding it very difficult to get or book an appointment with the customer for a
Mm-hmm.
1 hour slot to actually take them through what they have adopted, what more they could adopt, how the product is aligned towards their OKR. Now, customer is giving you that 1 hour voluntarily in a support case.
Yep.
Why would
Yep.
you waste it? So, as a marketer, what I used to do is I just pick phone, talk to 3 to 5 customers in a month to understand how it resonates with them, how the product resonates with them, what has changed um uh, in the in the current market for them or in the current environment.
So
Sorry, you have a
it's
question?
it's 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 3 to 4 customers in a month. That's what you said.
Right.
Do you not think that the volume is less? Maybe marketers should speak more to get the statistical significance out of it. Um,
The interesting part is the
hmm,
truth is like there are a lot of um, marketing obligations that you need to bind to. In
okay.
a B2B world, unlike B2C, you don't have some thousands and thousands of customers really or millions of customers
Got it.
trying your
Got it. No,
product.
got it. Got it.
So
Hmm,
I
hmm,
already have, let's say, 2,000 customers. If I
hmm,
pick to talk 3 to 5 customers that really praised or not so happy with the product, either way it helps.
hmm.
And it helps not just in terms of understanding how your product decision can improve, what they are expecting, how the play field has changed, but it also helps you with giving you a good content that resonates with it, right? So these are the interesting things. So as a pre-sales person, doesn't the job doesn't come to end the moment the sale is on. You might want to just drop a note to the champion in the deal to know how things are. Do you have any open questions? Remember the engagement phase that I was talking about.
Yeah.
So those were the small little things that you could do, and in terms of making the customer successful, and in turn they make the company successful. Now why I'm actually saying this is people don't understand this predecessor successor story. I'm playing a part in between. Let's say I'm a marketer. My job is to generate leads. My inputs come from product and from competition, and then I generate leads, give it to the sales team. I need to understand all these dimensions, otherwise I'm going to fail. Or you're going to just do whatever that your job description says, and we are going to celebrate the success, write a fantastic review about ourselves for the appraisal. Nothing is going to be successful if the company isn't making money. Your single write up about you is not going to be not going to help you. So understanding holistically as a company, trying to understand, hey, what I'm doing, where I got this from. I'm a support person, means the sale is converted. Now my job is to ensure this customer stays with us for longer long. So it's
Yeah.
not the CSM's job. So my point is this holistically is the way I look at it is how product can also help. This is what people are trying to automate by saying PLG. Truly. Right? Think about it. The product suddenly gives you a nudge saying, hey, you have been using all this. Do you know that you can also get these insights from it if you go to the higher plan?
It's internally embedded in the product while they use it.
Correct.
A pop-up might come up, and I'm also seeing one more thing while I was setting up the Riverside overall, that there was a AI chat inside of the product. Because again, products are complex for any new user, especially until you have spent hours on that. So how do you put a thumbnail in? And I'm like, is there someone I can talk to? But there was a AI chat. I just wrote my queries down, and in that same, what it gave me was what you are speaking about. It gave me my answer. Like again, it was playing little bit part of CS, and like not CS, but maybe product manager role. But it also gave me a pop-up where it said, you can also do this in this product. And I did try it. And then I'm like, oh, and just gave me that wow moment overall. So I'm sticking to Riverside for some long period of time until some other vendor can convince me they are better. But yeah, I get your point.
Brilliant. So that's the mission mind can follow. First is human. Mission mind, a mission still needs prompt, right? So who prompts it? What to, how to sense that? Yeah.
Perfect. Cool. So let's come to the topics of building, selling. How do you look at it? So speaking about the most big thing, there's a very term that is being famous as well, PMF anxiety. Founders have, and a lot when you talk about being very anxious of building something that no one wants, dying on a hill that does not really exist beyond your mind. So what signals tell you that what you're building or what you're doing is getting closer to a PMF? Like, and which one are like turning out to be false positives? Do you have a mental model that others can probably use from your experience? How do you look at PMF?
And I look at four points.
Okay.
When I say the product is PMF ready, first one is willingness to pay. Very, very, very important. When we share, hey, this is what we are building. How does it sound to you? Everybody will say nice, but when you ask them, hey, how much will you pay? Many of them shy away from committing a number. So that is important, and they need to pay it consistently. What I meant is, it shouldn't be just one off. I use it once in a quarter. I use it once in a year, kind of a product, because they don't pay for it. It's not a vacation money. So if when we build for B2B, it needs to really have a consistent usage and pay, right? And the second one is customer pull. Now, when we define the problem that we are saying, whether people are able to connect to it, and um, uh, is it really solving a problem? And when we explain it to them, if they really like it, when they start probing you in terms of what else you have done, I would still consider that as a more of a pull, customer pull towards the product. So beyond the inbound pull that it can have, word of mouth and things like that. But when we start defining, so is there a strong customer pull? That's the word. willingness to pay, customer pull. The third thing is happy customers, those who are ready to go out and attest your product publicly. Now, I can say, hey, Mukul, you've been fantastic, man, and all of that. But can you just go out in the LinkedIn world or anywhere in public and then attest this? Means you are betting your credibility also on it. That's the validation we need to be looking for. The last and very, very important one is, have you figured out a clear and repeatable GTM model? Now, how do you, means there are why it is important is, assume to reach your ICP, if it is not scalable, and if it really goes through a lot of process in terms of getting your product and the product, the pain, willingness to pay, everything vanishes because you have not figured out a repeatable model for your GTM. Means it's more like Picasso paintings. Only a few can do, or only one can do. Right? Means, yeah, it is valuable, but I'm not collecting artifacts,
Yeah.
collectibles, right? Expensive collectibles. That's not this. It's about serving million people, right? Serving really thousands of users. So how do you actually reach 1,000 people or reach 10,000 so that you can have 1,000 customers?
Understood.
Rich chart, willingness to pay, strong customer pull, happy customers, those who are willing to attest your product in public, clear and repeatable GDM tells you whether your product is PMF ready or not.
And everything else is
It is just a false positive to me.
got it. From your previous experience, what were the few GTM motions that you just love beyond everything else? Not just motions, but models or a way of looking at it, which is scalable.
So, okay, when what I've the way what has worked for me is really bringing out the individual, how you put your people to work, right? One-side generating lead is important, not really denying that importance. But once the lead is generated, how the team is going to pick and then really drive them to conversion. And this entire chain, right? From all the way from awareness to retention. So when how means, here is the thing, can you make a team which is self-sustained in terms of right from awareness all the way from retention, all the way to retention, right? That is quite important. That's how you actually split your team. And when you bet people, I still remember Girish used to say this many a times, saying, hey, you can't take away what God has left purposefully in you. What he means is, there are some natural talents. Some people really get they can pick a conversation with strangers just like that. They are the great salespeople, right? Some people really listen a lot. Those people have the great tendency to be a support engineer if you train them technically. Because first thing that happens is, when they pick the call, the customer is going to complain, really shout at you. You be calm, right? A salesperson never does that. Sales have a very different DNA. So what I meant is putting the right people in right role and bringing that talent together and make a self-sustained quad really helped us, if I were to kind of put it. So we used to divide it by region, ensure all the talents are seated. At times we have people, those who cut across time zones and nurture team members. But the ultimate thing is, if someone is taking care of, let's say, Europe and Middle East, so they will have a senior person that they can rely on to for kind of driving him in for a huge deal. And there are people to kind of ensure the support happens during that time zone. So means end to end. There is time zone specific or region specific concentration, so that I can just walk up to the person who actually made the sale, and also kind of talk to a person who's handling the billing.
I think connecting this question to the different one, which is twofold. Okay. One was, do you believe in founder led? That's one part. Okay. How putting your face out, that willingness to be vulnerable, that's one side of it. The second is support. CS has very different DNA, sales, different DNA. If you change the regions, again, different DNA is needed in Europe, in India, very different. Initially, companies don't have those resources to have different DNAs, more people. So can you shed a little bit light upon both of those aspects? Let's start with founding team, because they would have to do everything. And what if they don't have the DNA of sales, but they have to do it? And it's little bit gray area. And then once that's done, the founder led, how do you think about it? Again, founder led is little bit hyped up right now on LinkedIn, but you get the point what I mean.
Yeah. The founder-led part is, I would say, on a pre-PMF world, is very, very, very important. Once you get the PMF, maybe you can have take help from specialists, because otherwise you can't go in depth. Because not that every entrepreneur is well versed in terms of how to do an enterprise sale, how to do maybe scale your SMB business, right? Not that everybody knows about it. But why pre-PMF founder-led is fine is that's where you are getting a direct feedback from someone who's going to consume your product, which needs a lot of course correction. And if think about it, if somebody else is facing an issue in my sales team, and they're repeatedly getting that, and then they raising it to me, than actually me listening to the customer, there is a drop always in translation. So directly hearing it from the horse mouth, that is a customer's feedback, really helps you kind of tweak things to the market better. So it really does help. And this is more on the product side. But if you also think about me, some founder doing all marketing, all sales by themselves, if they have a prior experience, nothing like it. But if they don't have, their intent is not to even sell the product. That's the way I look at it. Though that's what is driving them to make that. They might not even do a great job at it. But the customer pain is so important. So my customer decided to buy and willing to pay for it. So that's the way it happens. It's not a pure play sale where the salesman really walks in, throws 5 questions, engages you, and then cuts the deal, walks away. It doesn't happen like that anymore in B2B. But I'm just saying, in an utopian world, how this can happen, right? The real sales is very, very different. Real sales is all about asking open-ended, right questions. You don't answer. You just listen.
You just shut
You
your
just
mouth.
ziplock, throw areas where customers going to talk for hours together. That says how much pain they are going through today. When you tell them, simply just get up and then say, boss, whatever you said, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, here is my product, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, solved. Means sale is done. So point is, you make them talk for hours together. It's not about you talking for hours together. And how do you make them also think? At times they say, hey, all that went fine. Suddenly, you know what, there is a budget freeze. I couldn't read. Now, this doesn't come into play at all if there is pain is real. If the pain is real, they'll fight for it.
Yeah. And they fight for it more desperately than you think you are desperate. But if
Correct.
it's done the right way, I've been in those situations where customer is calling me back, hey, when can we set it up? I'm like, it's you feel that pull from the customers when you ask the right questions, and they just speak more and more, and they just are aware of all of a sudden, they're aware that it's not a budget
Right.
issue, it's fear of messing up, whatever that can be.
So yeah, founder-led and the team, the founding team is the second part of the question.
Yeah.
Again, the same holds good. Means I don't see founding team and founders are two different species because they are here to wear multiple hats, really experience it. Knowing that I'm not an expert at all, but just because there is a shoes that I need to fill, I'm filling in for it. Let me do my best. My intent is to get the product market fit right. That's my interest. My interest is to solve the customer problem, and then we talked about the pull from the customer, right? Going
Yeah.
and making the budget for you if the problem is real. So if those two happens, that's when you really go out and then start picking people from the market who suits your team. Number one, the culture part of it, and also has the talent to drive, let's say, the sales or support or pre-sales, whatever the GTM role they play.
So when you go on these calls with prospects, we all have the same questions. What do you use today? What are you considering? Are you switching it, evaluating the budget and all these stuff? Band, some call it band, some have different methods, MEDIC, spiced methods, and all these things. What are odd things? Not odd, I think there's some other way, other word, something different that you ask, which really tell you if it's worth investing time for you.
Again, a good one. Beyond the regular ones, as you said, right? Hey, do you have a budget? Do you have any timeline? What are you using today? Kind of regular questions.
Yeah.
My typical question was with assume if I were to kind of do it for BaseDynamics today, I would ask like, what is that one product decision you're struggling with today that you want BaseDynamics to solve? Means this one question, right, kind of allows them to talk about all the current problems or frustrations they have, and how do they envision BaseDynamics to solve it for them. It actually solves both the sides. And if you ask them like, and there are how frequently you do that, because I said during our discussion, it's not like quarterly once product or yearly once kind of a product. People need to check on that regularly. Nowadays consumption happens over Slack and MS Teams more than people actually logging into the product, with a lot of MCPs getting into the play. But how frequently they check, right? Be it even Slack and MS Teams, whatnot. But the checking is important. The login is important. That's when they're going to feel the need for the product. So that is one first question that the follow-up question that I asked, like how frequently they check this. Because there is a problem, you want that to be solved. It is frustrating you and all of that, but how frequently you get into this problem, right? And what is the frequency? How often really helps me understand, will they pay me consistently? So that's the way I look at it. So two questions: how is your products? How do you ask the customer to describe their current problem, and what do they expect out of your product? So that's the interesting question. The second question was to understand more of a follow-up, to understand how frequently do they get to this scenario to check this.
You got it. Think we could conclude by asking one question, which is from your experience, which is that one lesson, tactic, method you're applying at BaseDynamics from day one, and one mistake you just want to avoid at all cost. Like that visceral level, you know these things. Yeah.
So not one, it's many, but where I would rather start is when it comes to your customers, it's fine to over communicate, not overcome it. People confuse that between over communicate and over commit. Commit what is in your control. Just tell them, hey, within 3 days, I'll get back to you, which is in your control. You cannot say, I'll build this within next week, which is not in your control, right? So communicate with a lot of authenticity and communicate, keep them posted. No customer really like to be in dark. Listen a lot. Here is what I have learned over the period. Someone who reads a lot, they write better. Someone who listens a lot, they speak better. So actually, you do the first thing to really make the other one sound logical.
Perfect. Perfect. I think the audience or anyone listening to this would have a lot of things to pick from this podcast. Thank you for joining for this call. It means a lot. Again, it's the first recording, so firsts are always special for you. Yeah, everyone, thank you
Thanks,
for
Mukul.
watching this.